It's been 5 days of sweat, tears, and blood as the protest, which began on August 1st, 2024 in Nigeria, tagged "End Bad Governance" in almost all the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, continues. With loss of lives and properties in places like Abuja, Kano, Niger State, Borno, Kaduna, Jigawa, amongst others. The economy counts losses as banks, ports, offices have been shut. Now, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did address the nation on Sunday, August 4th, but many feel he did not touch base with most of the issues. Thousands of Nigerians are protesting against the government due to the rising cost of living and fuel prices. They are also demanding that there be a reversal in the pump price of petrol, restoration of affordable electricity tariff, and reduction on import duties. Africa's most populous country is struggling with soaring inflation and a sharply devalued currency after President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration introduced reforms a year ago aimed at reviving the economy. Well, joining me on the program this evening is Omoleye Sowore, as the convener of Revolution Now movement. He joins me virtually. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, it's great to have this conversation again. I remember we had it before the protest, and a lot has happened. But let me start off by saying a lot, has happened in the past 5 days. Very unfortunate events inclusive. But today being the 5th day, I mean, the president did address the nation yesterday, but today being the 5th day, it seemed the energy or the momentum has dwindled. Why do you think that is? Is it that Nigerians don't believe the protest anymore, or the president's speech has sort of resonated with them?
I do not know where you were covering the protest from. That told
we actually had reporters. We actually had reporters across most parts of the nation, and one thing they said consistently was, looking at the amount of people that came out on day 1, day 2, day 3, even yesterday compared to today, the numbers have dropped.
Did you go with reporters that were counting people, or you just made a decision on your own?
I didn't make, sir, this is not it's not a decision on my own.
Yes, the reason I'm saying that is that in Kaduna, we saw unprecedented crowd in Kaduna today. Never seen crowd before crowd. In Port Harcourt, as I'm speaking with you, Port Harcourt is still going at it. So there's Kano, there are people who came out in Jos, even though there are several states where they've declared a 24-hour curfew. And in Kano, where they even killed people yesterday, people came out. People came out in Lagos, despite the fact that the Lagos state government announced that protesters are called off the protest. So I'm asking you again, where did you get the impression that the numbers have dropped?
The numbers actually did drop. We had reporters on ground who confirmed it.
What has happened is that the government has intensified a crackdown on peaceful protesters. They've arrested people. The organizers in Kaduna have been arrested for the last 3 days. In Abuja, they were shooting at people directly with live bullets, including journalists, your friends and colleagues, journalists, were shot at. And in Lagos, they kept bringing talks. In fact, in Lagos today, there were 2 fronts. There was Alausa and Ojota. They brought talks to beat up people in Lagos. So you are not discussing that. You are discussing the numbers have dropped without discussing the circumstances.
I'm getting at that. No. I'm getting there. I just want your opinion on.
I know the trick. I know the trick. The last time I was on an interview with you, I know the trick you played. You can't play that trick on me again. You have to be honest and truthful about what is going on in Nigeria.
I can assure you there are no tricks.
Report the issues. No. You have to report issues as truthfully as they are.
And that is what I am telling you.
You can't hide police brutality issues.
We will get to that. We will definitely get to that. There are issues arising.
Yes.
There are issues arising. We know. We will get to that. But I just want your opinion. Okay.
The protest, except they wear a particular tag or they dress a certain way. Those are the issues. You cannot be pouring feces on the faces and head of people who are suffering, but who kept resisting this government by, asking questions or reporting in a manner that I consider to be very biased. Yeah, no, yes. See, so you expect people
I'm sorry,
who are treated
I can
this way
tell
as they're
you
showing
that
online
that
now,
is not biased.
just wake up the next day, or the people who died in Kano yesterday, who were killed, children
Mr.
who were
Sowore,
killed
I believe
you
are trying to. I believe that you are trying to move away from the issues, because I told you, I said we will still get to that.
Different from what you are putting up now.
We'll still get to that. I mean, those are issues, and they are real issues. I can tell you, please let me talk. Please let me talk.
Yes.
We have reporters who are also harassed, right? As at yesterday, our reporter in Abuja was at the venue, that's the stadium, and it was tear gas, and it was live. So we'll still get to those issues. But I just want your feel on what you think maybe might have transpired compared to what we've seen. But let's move away from that. Let's talk about the president.
No. I don't want you to keep moving away from what are facts. Because that's what I'm saying, that kind of reporting and the kind of interviewing you are doing now is the kind of interview from which you get sound bites that are used to demobilize people, like we did the last time when you and I spoke. So I don't want you to get away with that, because like I keep telling you guys, we are all journalists, even though I consider myself not a journalist that went to journalism school. But I know when you put nuances up to demobilize people. And this is not the time to do it, because there's truthful reporting that should be out there about the brutality of the government, about the high-handedness, and the fact that people are still coming out after 5 days. Nothing in the history of this country.
Mr. Omoleye, kind of I can assure you we will still get to that. And I can also assure you that News Central has been on top of it, giving credible reportage on these issues. But let's talk about the president's speech, which yesterday you did also speak on with our station. I want to believe right now, because part of what you said yesterday was that you did not bother to read the speech or watch it. Are you abreast of it now?
How would I not bother to read the speech?
You said it yesterday.
I said the speech is useless. That's what I said. I was the one who first posted the speech 8 hours before it was played to Nigeria.
So let's get to the issues right now, specifics in the speech.
I was the one who posted the speech first. 8 hours, more than 8 hours before or thereabout. Before it was, why would you ascribe to me what I didn't say? That's why I didn't read this. Of course, I read the speech, but if I didn't read the speech, I would have described it as beautiful nonsense.
Okay, maybe you said it as an afterthought, but it was part of. But that's not even where I'm headed. Where I'm headed is this. Let's look at some of the issues contained in that speech. One of which the president talked about the reforms that are on ground. He also talked about dialogue and discussions. Now, my question to you is this, particularly on the aspect of dialogue. I know that you are key when it comes to a better Nigeria and the good of the people, and you've also been a strong voice in this protest. Now, on the aspect of dialogue, are there any plans to explore that avenue too?
You see, protest itself is dialogue. And I think I said this on your station before. For people to get out of their house and file out, carry leaves, carry placards, the placards read something, right? They're explaining to you because they understand that the government is deaf, that this is what they want. That's dialogue. So that's what protest is all about in the first place. It's just a different kind of dialogue, because we're dialoguing with people who are tone deaf. And you know that if you had walked into the office or send them a letter, they will listen to you. So you take it to the next level. So what we have been asked for 1 month before the protest even hit. And I think what must have surprised you and some others is that the protest even took place at all, because every effort was used by media, by third forces to dissuade people from coming out, including like the encounter I said I had with you, where you were pressing me Why are you not going to lead the protest? And I told you, it's irrelevant. And has it not come to pass? So dialogue that they are looking for is not the dialogue that we are looking for. If you want to dialogue with people, you respect them. You don't dialogue with people when you are still killing them at protest grounds, and when you are sending people carrying machetes, shooting live bullets at them. You don't dialogue with people who are protesting and you're accusing of treason because they carry Russian flag. Those are not people looking for dialogue. And we're not interested in the kind of dialogue that they arrange in Nigeria that will create a team of persons who will be entering the Aso Rock and coming back only to be accused of collecting money. Or if you're intransigent, they will say it is because the money you asked for had not been made available to you. So that's not the dialogue we want. Is for them to look at the issues raised and address them immediately. And those ones don't require dialogue. There was nobody they dialogue with when they increased fuel prices from 200 naira to now about 1,000 naira. They didn't dialogue with anybody when they floated the naira that has now crippled the Nigerian economy. They didn't dialogue with people when they increased school fees. They didn't dialogue with people when they did a lot of stuff when they came into government. So the 15 items that were in the demands of the protesters don't even require any meeting at all. When there was need for us to dialogue, we went to dialogue with the police, and that was how to handle the protest. But what did the police do after we left the meeting with them on Zoom? They still went ahead and did the worst they could, killing innocent, peaceful protesters across the country. That was after we sent one of the most credible lawyers on our behalf, Femi Falana, to lead a meet to meet the IG of police, asking them to protect protesters. So how do you dialogue with people who are deaf, people who have no regard for life, people who have no regard for anyone? You don't waste your time dialoguing with those kind of people because they don't mean well for you. So both those who are looking for dialogue should know that the dialogue opportunities are already, the pipeline is there. Read the placards and read the 15-point agenda for the protest. You will get what you need, and there's no need for any other meeting. Nobody's interested. They are not interested in dialogue.
Okay, just quickly, people. Some have actually suggested that maybe an open virtual meeting with everyone, interaction, might work so that people communicate directly. But I understand that we need to go on a break. When we'll come back, of course, we'll pick up from there. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. This is still Politics HQ on News Central Television. And of course, we still have Omoleye Sowore, the convener of Revolution Now movement, as our guest today. Now, some have suggested that, maybe as an avenue for open engagement, a virtual town hall where maybe the leaders, interface directly with people. As a form of, what I call it, roundtable. Do you think that can also be an avenue to explore or push for?
What I have noticed is that the government is not interested in solving any of the problems. And people who are more knowledgeable than myself and who you can refer to as unbiased in this matter, even people who are closer to those who are in government today, people like Professor Wole Soyinka, have come out and condemned one of the best opportunities, perhaps, I don't know, I'm not interested, that the president, Bola Tinubu, could have used to dialogue with Nigeria, which is a speech he gave that ended up even infuriating more people. I've read from church leaders, community leaders, opinionated persons, lots of them who are widely known in the country, who said that was a missed opportunity and that it appears that they are not interested in dialogue. I know that they are not interested in dialogue. And I had warned Nigerians, if you go on my timeline on Twitter, that when they said they're going to give a speech, that this speech is not going to lead to anything. Even before I published, I got a copy of the speech and published it on social media. And everybody has seen clearly through this. It was the speech was a ruse. They just thought that if they spoke to Nigerians, knowing that Nigerians are largely very complacent people, they will just not protest anymore. And that's what happened. They're used to labor leaders saying they will go on strike for 2 days and they'll do 1 day and the next day they'll just disappear. So that was the intention of the national broadcast. And now that that didn't work, nobody should be pushing any idea on anyone to accept another waste of time. I can tell you that it will be a waste of time to engage in either an open, virtual, or personal dialogue with them. They're not interested. People who are threatening you every day, every meeting they've had, every pronouncement the government has made since this protest was announced has been a threat. It has been a diversion. It has been bullying. And, you know, they've accused everybody possible of being a planner. They have used the opportunity to set up their own Lagos xenophobia, asking Igbos to be driven out of Lagos. They've used it to blackmail people, smear everybody. So they're not interested. And when it happened, that the unexpected happened, which is the protest itself, and they saw it around the country, they thought, well, let's pull another trick from our hats. Let's give a national broadcast. And we know them now, they will soon forget. And when that didn't happen today, what did they do? They arranged some, the military leaders in the country, and they are threatening people who are carrying Russian flags in Kaduna, that those ones, they will try them for treason. Yes, I've said it on Twitter, I'm opposed to anybody calling for military rule. I cannot stand a situation where anybody will allow military to take. Military of Nigeria brought us to where we are now. They should, and they are the ones who are helping with all the criminal activities politically, rigging of election, helping to kidnap people, violating human rights. They're the ones who killed young people at Lekki. So I don't want a military takeover. No, never. But I do not subscribe to the fact that waving Russian flag at a protest ground is treason. No.
Why not? Why? Sorry, why?
Yes, because why? If foreign flag exists in plenty of them in Nigeria, there are some people who have Palestinian flags that they wear, they tie it on their head, bandana. As a protest against what is happening. Wait.
Okay.
If you go to, you see a lot of church leaders in Nigeria have Israeli flags hanging around the church. Some of them kneel every day in front of, Israeli flags, and pray to the God of Israel. So, and a lot of Nigerian leaders are also foreign nationals.
I'm sorry,
including the president.
Can I come in here?
Extra passports, they carry foreign passports. If that one is not treason, using flags at protest ground,
may I come
cannot
in here,
be regarded as treason. Go ahead, please.
Okay. You said you do not consider it treason, but do you consider it some sort of security concern?
No, it doesn't.
The reason why I'm asking is this: looking at the circumstance or at which these flags are carried, and the mass amount of people, wielding these flags, to the point that there are reports that even the Russian embassy has reacted, saying that it has nothing to do exactly with that. Whether they're officials or them, they have absolutely nothing to do with that. Are you saying that it's something that should not be of concern to not just the government alone, but Nigerians? Whether maybe an agenda, is being pushed?
Well, the agenda that I see there is that I don't even put it beyond the government, the Tinubu government, to be the one who is providing Russian flags to these guys. But what I'm saying is that holding a Russian flag is not the same thing as holding an AK-47. The one that I condemn is those people who are shouting, "We want military takeover," in front of military officials. You've seen some nice, I've seen some trends by the military in the last few hours. They will go to protest grounds. People will be shouting, "Take over, we want military to take over." And they're very nice. They're very well dressed. That is a trick that I abhor. That it might actually be the military that is sewing Russian flags and putting people on the street to say, "Oh, tell us to take over." That is what should be investigated. not people carrying the flags.
Okay. Now,
flags are not weapons. Okay. And I've told you, people carry Israeli flags, people carry Palestinian flags. They are all tools for, when people want to protest, they use all kinds of insignia to protest. Sometimes, in Abuja, people burn the American flag, as a way of protesting against American policy in the Middle East. That is, even in the US, people do all kinds of things.
Okay, so let's move away from that because
how does that now become treason? What I'm trying to say is that before you know it, they'll start picking people in Lagos and say that they're charging them for treason. They've done it to me before 5 years ago, saying that revolution now is treason. And I spent 5 years in Nigeria, and they couldn't. They only presented one evidence one witness before they folded up.
All right, let's talk about the abuses, which of course is very also dear to this conversation. And of course,
I thought the abuses should have come first because those ones involve lives.
Yes, I mean, all of it involves Nigerians. Now, very unfortunate, we had even some of our reporters, had their fair share of harassment, at the front line. I would like you to react to some of it, and some reports also that some of these protesters, are being picked already.
Well, there's no reacting to some of it. I'm reacting to all of it. I condemn all forms of abuses, whether they're against protesters, organizers, journalists who are going about their lawful duties. I condemn any abuse also that might have been carried out by any overzealous protester or non-protester whom are masquerading as protesters. But what is clear and what you should understand is that this protest, when it was being planned and announced, carried everybody along. I explained earlier how out of, caution, we sent one of the most credible human rights lawyers, two of them actually, Adeburu and Femi Falana, to the police to represent our movement, to discuss with the police on how to protect the protesters. Against even our own better judgments, we provided the locations where the protests will happen across the country to them, and had about an hour conversation with them, which had over 20 people on it, civil society leaders, lawyers, and discussed with them that we need them to be aware and to be at alert to protect both protesters and non-protesters. What did the police do? They did exactly what everybody had feared. They went out, they're killing people, shooting people at close range, they are ramming their armored vehicles into people. Even in Katsina, a police armored vehicle, a water cannon, rammed itself into another police vehicle that I heard died later. So it was just riddled with abuse, not some abuse. It was unbelievable abuse. In Lagos, they have commenced what they are known for. They were transporting area boys and thugs to scenes that they themselves designated for protest to attack people. Up till this evening, they were still attacking protesters at Ojota in Lagos. They attacked another group in Niger. So I think it's important that you prioritize this than what came earlier, which was, in my view, not very fair to Nigerians who are carrying out their peaceful, constitutionally guaranteed rights.
Okay, I mean, I understand you, but it's also important to explore all the angles. But thank you so much for your time on the program this evening. Omoleye Sowore, convener, Revolution Now movement. Once again, thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right.